Dearly beloved, we have all gathered here today in the presence of Bob Troll to witness and bless this union as King Friday the 13th and Sarah Friday Saturday of Westwood come together in holy matrimony. Just in time for Valentine's Day, let's all put on our purple gloves and make sure we get our baths in as we journey to the neighborhood and witness the television event of 1969, February 28th to be exact, nearly 55 years ago.
Hi, it's a special day. Yeah, it's so special I think I'll just leave these shoes on.
It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that we're friends. You always make each day a special day for me.
So before we get to the ceremony, I've been asked by the bride and groom to say a few words. Not as few as say, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, but not as many as propel, propel, propel your craft gently through liquid solution.
Ecstatically, 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 existence is but an illusion.
Ah, geez, don't get him started. Oh, I remember just like it was yesterday, the first time I saw Friday and Sarah together. As the kids tend to say, it was a meet cute from day one.
My beautiful crown.
Well, I really hadn't noticed the crown, King Friday. I was looking at your beautiful eyes.
My eyes?
Some romances start with roses or chocolates. This one started with a cup custard.
It's a cup custard.
That's what I mean. A true cup custard.
I asked Edgar Cook, and he said it was one of your favorite things, King Friday.
It truly is, Sarah Saturday.
That cup custard is the seed that grew a great oak of love. Yeah, sorry if that bit was a little trite. I was up late last night at the bachelor party. King Friday got a little and started acting really weird.
I am the supreme ruler of the neighborhood of make-believe. All will kneel before my... Ugh, what kind of freaking king lives next to the train tracks?
So in the early days of the neighborhood, the show was kind of a continuing story. In later years, Fred did themed weeks, and the story, especially in make-believe, was told in 5 parts from Monday through Friday, with topics such as alike and different, conflict, divorce, etc. But back in 1969, it was more of a soap opera, really. Between a distance of maybe 20 episodes, Friday and Sarah meet, get married, and are then gone for like 2 weeks while they're on their honeymoon. And incidentally, Prince Tuesday comes along a little over a year later. So there had been quite a lead-up and fanfare to the King and Queen's wedding over the weeks before this episode, as many gifts and presents were sent in from all over the neighborhood. 1,031 presents to be precise, 619 little ones, and 412 big ones. King Friday also made a declaration that everyone must take a bath before the wedding and wear purple gloves if they are expected to attend the ceremony. I half expect someone to talk King Friday out of the purple gloves thing, but we'll see if that sticks.
Chef Brockett asked if I would get these made for him. Look. A little figure of King Friday.
So the episode starts with Fred showing off some wedding toppers for Friday and Sarah's wedding cakes. Good, clean, wholesome content. You can always count on Fred to say exactly the right thing.
You know, when I was a little boy, I thought I'd grow up and marry my mother. One day I said, I'm really going to marry, really going to marry, really going to marry. One day I said, I'm really going to marry, really going to marry you, my mother. She smiled.
So I'm joking about this, but I get it. Sometimes Fred would tap into those real, raw feelings that kids have. Like when I was a kid, I'd always say I was going to marry my cousin. It's just a thing that kids say. You don't often see such honest moments in kids' programming today. It's like that song that Fred does, where he wishes his father's store would burn down.
One time I wished that a dragon would come and burn up my daddy's big store. I wished that dragon would burn his store. I wished it would burn daddy's store.
Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
Seriously though, this song about Fred marrying his mother goes on for like 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna skip all this.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
So there's a knock on Fred's door, and it's Miss Emily, the poetry lady, a frequent visitor on the show since the very beginning, who stops by to read a poem she's written for the ceremony.
How about your purple gloves?
Oh, we're going to wear pretend ones.
But as long as they're purple, it doesn't matter whether pretend or real.
So it looks like pretend gloves are okay. Fred found a loophole. Let's see if it stands. After Miss Emily leaves, Chef Brockett stops by. Again, he's on his way to the wedding just like Miss Emily. Notice how everything in this episode revolves around what's happening in make-believe. In later years, there was a much more subtle connection between the two realities, and the delineation between what is real and what is not was much more present. I suspect that became much more important to Fred as he got older. Now let's all stop and watch Fred take a pretend bath.
Okay. How would you take a pretend bath? Like this? Fine. Okay, now, dry yourself off.
Well, that was refreshing, wasn't it? And now it's on to the big day in make-believe, as Lady Aberlin enters in full June Carter cosplay. There's a bit of a sitcom-style mix-up here of where the wedding is supposed to happen. King Friday proclaims the wedding will take place in the garden, and everyone just assumed it would take place in the W room. W for wedding. Chef Brockett also arrives, and is also confused, as he rushes to help Lady Aberlin and Edgar Cook set up the wedding. Meanwhile, the bride and friends are also confused.
Hey, you all, listen. The place of the wedding has been changed.
Oh, we can turn it. Oh, so sorry. We can hot
Change, will it be far away?
Royal confusion involving upstairs and downstairs? This is like an episode of Downton. Enter the arch clergy of make-believe, Mr. Anybody, also a character from the early days, in one of his last show appearances. He's actually the guy that gave the trolley his whistle, though currently he's a little confused about the castle, which at the time was a new addition to the neighborhood set.
Come along, Mr. Anybody.
Lady Aberlin, what has happened to your uncle's castle?
Well, that's it. It's new.
Oh, it sure is.
Again, continuity, since that actor hadn't been on the show since the set had changed. It's interesting to watch people disappearing underneath the trolley tracks and then reappearing around another corner. As a kid, I was always curious on how the set was constructed, and I guess I still am. Look at me talking over things. The ceremony has started. It's nice to have Robert Troll there, as Sarah Saturday and him always had a very sweet rapport. There's only so much room on the set, so it's interesting to see who's not there for the wedding. Lydia Lane's and Daniel's absence is a pretty glaring one for me. As the ceremony begins, I'd like to remind you that this was not the only wedding to take place in the neighborhood. We were treated to the wedding of the McFeelys, which I covered in a previous episode, and another wedding in make-believe, that of Betty Okonek Templeton and Michael Jones of Westwood.
Who then holds the crown for the Queen?
We can send down to Robert Troll with one for Sarah Saturday to the Queen for Sarah Saturday.
Thank you, Robert Troll.
Ah yes, Heavy the Troll who holds the crown. And with purple gloves. I guess they're just going with that, huh?
Today is a very special day. It's special in a special way. Our King, our great and glorious King, whose praises through the neighborhood ring, is being married today. Today!
Miss Emily reads her poem, Mr. Anybody instructs the King and Queen to hold hands, and then we're treated to this shot. Probably the most mind-blowing shot in the run of the entire show. I can't think of another time they did anything quite like this. Even though I feel like the perspective is kind of wrong, I still respect the fact that they went with it. And they really let the moment play out.
King Friday, will you repeat after me? I, King Friday the 13th.
I, King Friday the 13th.
Take thee, Queen Sarah, Friday, Saturday.
Take thee, Queen Sarah, Friday, Saturday,
to be my lawful wedded wife.
to be my lawful wedded wife.
By the authority vested in me by the Archclergy of Make-Believe, I pronounce that King Friday the 13th and Queen Sarah Friday Saturday are now husband and wife, whom Make-Believe has joined together. Let no man put asunder. Long live the King and Queen!
Long live the King and Queen!
After the wedding, Fred was ecstatic. It's wonderful to see him in such a lovely mood here.
Oh, I liked being with you at the wedding. Yeah, you and I were together at the wedding of the king and queen. Isn't that special?
Marriage is a topic that meant a lot to Fred, which is of course evident in his own life and his 50-plus year marriage to Sarah Joanne, his own personal Queen Sarah. And he knew it was an important topic to discuss with us, his neighbors. He once said, "The most important thing about a wedding is the love that people have for one another. The fancy clothes and flowers and presents are all very nice, but it's the people caring for each other that really makes the wedding."
You're such a special person to me. You're the one I really wanted to be with at the wedding.
I feel very much the same way, Fred. Thank you all for joining me as Queen Sarah Saturday became Queen Sarah Friday Saturday. You know, I've never seen The Crown, but I can't imagine it could ever top this. See you next time on The Neighborhood. Purple gloves are optional.